Guys, once again, this is Ewan Henry with Tech in My Life. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So this is my second part to my updating of my network video, where I'm just going to go adopting my surveillance cameras. And again, I opted for the whole Unifi Protect. What we have here is my G5 Pro. It's a 4K bullet cam. I have two G4 instant and two G3 instant. And what we're going to do today is just go through the adopting process. I've already created a separate VLAN for my cameras. So we'll go through just adopting the cameras into the system. Then we'll assign them different names because they're all going in different places. And once we do that, I'll actually take them outside. Actually, it's only two that has to go outside. And thankfully, today is one of those great days in the Northeast. We're up to around 60 degrees or so. So, you know, great day for mounting cameras outdoors. And lastly, I have three cameras that I'll be placing indoors, one in the garage, and at my two points of entry and exit in the home. But that all being said, switching over to this has one drawback for me. These cameras do not have batteries. That is the one thing I like about Arlo, sort of, because the Arlo cameras themselves have batteries. Now, because it requires the internet to work. If my system go down, even though it's plugged into a backup battery, it's not functioning. This system, because it's plugged into a UPS, it'll keep operating, you know, until the UPS depletes its battery power. But this will keep operating, but only on two cameras, because this is a USB-C to PoE injector. So it'll inject PoE to a camera that's inside of the home. And this other one, this G5, is a PoE camera. So this one, because those two will be getting power directly from the UPS, if in case I lose power, I'd still have power going to those two cameras. So let's get this adopted. The first one I'm going to do is open up the G5. I tore it open a little while ago, but I didn't really do much with it. I just did a quick unboxing and stuck that on YouTube. But now let's get it. Okay, so there's the body. This is the tightening collar. This is like the knuckle to adjust different angles. So you have the Ethernet port right there. And this is your mounting collar. So once this is mounted onto the wall, this is connected to this, and this is connected to that, and boom, Bob's your uncle. So first things first, this is what's all in the box. There's your mounting hardware. And I believe, yes, here is some instructions and probably warranty information. So we'll just leave that to the side for the time being. But let's jump into Unifi Protect here. But before we jump into Unifi Protect, what I want to do is take a quick look at here in network to show you guys what I did. Now, if I go under devices here, you see all of my different devices, and we'll go into settings and network. And like I said, I already created my separate VLANs, and here is one that I created for my cameras. So the Wi-Fi cams are all going to be on this network here, on this VLAN network. Okay, so that's done. Now we don't need that. Okay. So now let's jump into Unifi Protect. Now I do have an Ethernet wire right here, where we're just going to plug this in. First, let's go Unifi devices here. Now, as soon as I plug this in, it should pop up. Okay, there we go. We have power, the lights on. Okay, there we go. Just popped up. So we can jump in here and adopt this camera. Adopting. And we can hit play. Okay, and there we go. All set up just like that, very quickly. There I go. We'll set that off to the side for a second while we jump in here and do some quick configuration setting. So I just want to name this camera driveway or front. Let's just name it driveway. And apply changes. And for the other cameras here, we'll do these two last. Let's jump on to the G4. And if it seems like I'm going quick, I am going quick because I want to show you guys just how simple this is. And in this box, we have this camera. And okay, guys, this camera is so tiny. Okay, to put in perspective just how tiny it is, here is one of my mic, one of the Rhodes Go mic. This is how tiny this camera is. It is so unbelievably tiny. And we have power compartment here where we'll plug in our USB-C. So USB-C goes in right there. We have a 3/4 adapter screw hole. We have a 3/4 adapter hole in the back here, which works out great for me, by the way, because one of my cameras, my Arlo, is mounted in the back of the house with the same 3/4 screw, 3/4 thread. So all I have to do is unscrew the Arlo, screw this in, and plug it in, because the Arlo is actually getting power from one of my Floodlight cams, and I'll show you guys that in a little while. But this, I'm just really impressed by how small it is. But I guess this is what you get when you don't have to put a battery on the inside of the camera. You get to have this super small form factor. So let's get some power going to this and see what else is in the box. And here is the power outlet. An unreal long USB-C cable. Now, what I wish they did was, yes, it's absolutely great that you get a long USB-C cable, because, you know, if you're mounting it outside and you're mounting it up high, then you can have a cable that would reach an outlet. However, if you're mounting it indoors and you're already close to an outlet, it would have been nice to have the option of having a shorter cable. Even if it doesn't come in the pack, it would have been nice if Unifi just had one online where you can get shorter cables. And the reason I'm mentioning the shorter cable is because this cable has a 90-degree bend in it. And it's it's not quite proprietary. I'm sure you can find something similar, but because of that 90-degree bend that needs to go in here, you know, it's almost, I want to say it's like quasi proprietary because of the fit. Because you can probably, like I said, get a USB-C cable that can go right in there, probably straight, but then you won't get any of the moisture protection or the water protection. So yeah, I wish they just had a shorter USB-C cable, but that's neither here nor there. And actually, for me, one of the cameras is going to be plugged into this PoE USB converter. So now I'm going to have a long cable going into this, and then a shorter Ethernet cable plugging into my Ethernet jack onto the wall. It's going to be a lot of cable, unnecessarily, I believe. I really wish they offered a shorter cable. But like I said, this is where we are, and I'm just going to deal with it because I have to deal with it. But let's get this one plugged in and adopted. I don't think I need anything else from here, but let's see what else is in here. More mounting hardware. And I'm not even going to need this stuff here, but yes, there's just more. There's like some two-sided tape pads here and a base plate, and that's a mounting bracket for the cam itself. I don't think there's anything else in here. Oh, hardware. Yep, and that's it. You have some instructions here also. All right. Let's plug this in. Now, I'm curious if instead of plugging it into an outlet, would this work by just plugging it into the USB-C port on my computer here?
Welcome to Unifi Protect.
How about that?
Ready to adopt. Camera setup completed. Ready to stream.
And looks like it's doing an automatic update. Still updating. That's fine. We'll sit that off to the side for the time being while we open up one of the G3. That was a G4. So you guys are bear witnessing to some of my OCD there. Just trying to get this, okay, situated. Okay, let's get that out of the way. That's the G4. Let's get into this G3 here. And again, just this very, very small form factor. And we're going to just put the G4 and the G3 alongside each other. And again, point of reference, we can use my camera, my Rhodes microphone here, just to show how very, very tiny these three are. Cool. All right, let's get into this box here. More power plug, more mounting hardware. I'm probably only going to need the mounting hardware, believe it or not, for one of the cameras. The one that I'm going to be mounting in my garage is going to be up in the ceiling. But everything else will just be either on a desk, on a table, or I already have a place situated already to mount stuff from the pre-existing camera system. All right. This one does not have a trap door at the bottom. And, I guess that's fine also. These two will not be going outside. This one, the G3s will both be inside. Now, my nearest power outlet is under my desk, guys. So, this is a thing. This is what happens when you're live. And this G4, we're going to name this one Kitchen. And okay, let's take a quick look at this G4 footage and look at that. That looks awesome. Now the G4 is a 2K camera, so that's fine. That's the G5, the big one, the bullet cam, that is a 4K camera. And the two G3s, I believe those are only 1080p, and the G4 is 2K. And the way I kind of set it up is the 1080p cameras, they're located in an area where as soon as you come through the door, from the time you break the plane to where the camera is, it's relatively close. So it doesn't need super high resolution. It'll, you know, be able to distinguish a figure because it's relatively close from it, like I said, from the door to the camera. And I want to say it's 1080p at around 24 frames a second. So that should be more than enough to monitor the entry. The one that's in the garage, that's going to be one of the G4s because I wanted a higher resolution for the G4. Same thing in the backyard. That's a G4. I wanted that higher resolution. So that's looking at the whole entire backyard. And again, the G5 is looking at the whole front of the house, and that's 4K because it's covering such a wide area. The more resolution, the more pixels, the better. Just my philosophy. There's no rule of thumb, but that's just the way I kind of worked it out in my head, saying that, you know, hey, the cameras that are closer to people doesn't need high resolution. The camera that covering a wider area and people potentially be farther away need a little bit more in resolution. So adopt. Let's close out that one. Come here. There we go. Adopt it. And we can go right into this one. Rename it. The G3 is going to be front door. And it's going to keep making those annoying sounds until the whole adoption process is complete. So this is the last G3. And basically what I'm doing with this G3 is just getting the cable, because this USB cable is USB-C to USB-A. Now, you might be asking, what's the big deal? Why do I want USB-C to USB-A? Well, I currently have a Floodlight in the backyard, and the Floodlight has a USB-A receptacle on the side. So what I'll be able to do is plug in the USB-C into the G4 and this into the side of the to the side of the Floodlight, and that's it. All I do is mount it onto the current hardware and I'm done. So this camera, what I'm actually going to do is just switch the USB-C power to the USB-A. So we'll set that off to the side for a second. Now, while I do have two more cameras to set up, I think you guys have the basic gist of it. I don't think I should have to go through setting up two more cameras to make a point. Okay, guys, that's it. As you can see, all of the cameras have been adopted. All of the cameras, I put them in their respective locations. The driveway, the garage, etc. Everything is working great. Now, what I want to do is, we got a couple things going on in our household, and I'm not going to be able to finish all of this video at one time. So what I thought about doing is letting some time pass, getting some footage, getting more becoming more familiar with the system, and then I'll conclude the video a few weeks out. And some of the things that we have going on in our house that's actually gonna impact this video anyway is we do have my work area here, my computer area, that all has to be torn down. The walls are gonna be painted, and I'm also gonna be getting new carpet for the whole upstairs. So we have some things going on here anyway. So I'll get back to you guys after all that's done, and I'll check back in with you then. Okay guys, like I said, a few weeks have passed since I set up the system. And within the few weeks, like I said, we had to work on some things in our home. We had to get some new carpets installed. And as you can see, the back of, the wall is a different color. So our whole upstairs was painted, and I'm all set back up now. We've had crazy things happen that I think if I didn't have continuous recording, could have been a potential issue. We have a small table on our patio. It's about 27 inch squared, and the glass top is about a 1/4 inch glass, and it just shattered. And I knew the landscapers were working outside. My immediate thought was that the landscapers were doing something and they shattered it. So I pulled up the Unifi Protect, jumped into the timeline, and once I found it, my mind was blown. Believe it or not, the glass just randomly shattered, and I was able to get footage of that and avert me having to call my association and just kind of go crazy about them damaging my property. But that didn't happen. So let's jump into the system here, nose around a little bit, go over some features, and then we'll wrap it all up. Okay guys, when I log into my Unifi Protect account, the first screen I'm greeted with is just the dashboard. Now on the dashboard, you can see my Dream Machine here, and you can see the size of the hard drive that I have installed in my NVR. And I'm using a 4 terabyte hard drive. That gives me about 18 days of recording. About a quarter of the recordings are in 4K, and the others is in 1080p and 2K. Obviously, I have one 4K camera, I have two 1080p cameras, and two 2K cameras. So that breaks down just the quantity the quality of recordings that I'll have. And then I have a bunch of the last several motion detection from various cameras. Now that's the dashboard. Next is just the different cameras I have on the system, driveway cam, front door, patio, etc. Then there's the live view, which shows all the different cameras just on one screen. And now playback is where I probably spend the most of my time. In playback, you get to see the different cameras at the bottom. And from the right side, you have your timeline and detections. Now timeline, you can zoom in on the timeline. At the top, there's a plus minus zoom toggle, and that lets you get just down to more minute by minute scrolling. And if I go to detections, then it eliminates all of the time there's no detections and only show me the times where motions were detected. So if I wanted to download a clip because something happened that just wasn't captured by motion, I hit download, then I selected the time frame, the 3 or 4 seconds that it took, and I was able to hit download and download that clip and save it. So that's how that works. And then you have detections. Now detections, it's just that, a page where you can see all of the motion detections over the past, in my case, 18 days. And then there's other two here. There's roles and system logs. System log just kind of shows the errors and stuff like that. Settings, obviously settings shows different setups. Settings, you have 24-hour, the type of temperature units, Fahrenheit or Celsius. just various settings right here, device groups, and I have indoor and outdoor cameras. Video retention, just the quantity of time you want videos retained. I have 20 days, but my camera, it like only can store 18 days. So everything from 18 days ago gets automatically deleted anyway. And notification settings. So you can go through setting up different notifications that way. Now, I will say there's one setting, there's a couple things that I think are standouts, which makes this system, I think, separates it from some of the other systems out there. And one of the big settings or capabilities, I should say, that this system has that others don't is the ability to really set the video quality to look the way you want it to look. Now, if you go, let's start, let me go back a little bit. So I'm at the Unifi devices here, and I'll select the camera, then I'll go to settings for that camera and adjust camera picture. Now, here's where just some really cool features happen. Now, it almost reminds me of like if you go into Premiere or DaVinci Resolve, whatever video editing software, and you have some capabilities. You know, you can adjust your brightness, your contrast, your hue, saturation, sharpness. And with this particular camera, the 5K, the 5G, it has an optical zoom, so I can zoom in and set the area that I want to be recording in. So I have that optical capability to just zoom into that area. And denoise, auto exposure mode, orientation, you know, just want to flip it upside down or not. Infrared, which is your nighttime recording setting, and HDR, which is your high dynamic range, which gives you those really just great, like on a bright sunny day like today, the image just looks spectacular. But a lot of other cameras just don't have that ability. Now, I like nice punchy colors from my camera, right? So I'll hit that saturation. Now, I have it pretty low here, but I can crank it up and get those skies to look very blue, you know, and the grass to look super green. So that's, oh, I'm sorry, that was sharpness I just hit. So now I wanted saturation. So saturation, yeah, I do have saturation cranked up a bit here, but let's max it out. Look at that. That just looks crazy. But yeah, you get that those greens and blues that are just popping. Now, going back to the sharpness, because it is already a very sharp camera, I dialed the sharpness down a little bit to almost soften the image because I felt like it was just too sharp. Let's blow this up a bit. And yeah, this is with the sharpness dialed back, and it still looks great. Oh yeah, that's just one of the things I think that's make this system stand out from other systems. Just your ability to go into each camera and adjust the picture quality to make it look the way you want it to look. You know, if you like a more muted picture video, well, you can go all the way to black and white, or you can get it to look very muted. But like I said, I like those nice punchy colors. Like in the fall, when you get the leaves changing colors, that just looks awesome. And so there's a bunch of other settings in here. Recording mode, you get an overview of the camera, the G5 Pro, and all of its information here. Last motion, the MAC address, etc., etc. You get all that there in the overview, recording mode, and settings. And that's the same with each camera, pretty much. Some of the capabilities from one camera to the other might vary, but that's where you go to make the settings on each individual camera. So that's it for the settings. So guys, that's it. Pretty much a very easy system to set up, but with robust capabilities. It's very intuitive. As a person that's new to the Unifi Protect, it took me no time not only to get it set up, but to become very familiar with it. If I needed to change anything or make any adjustments, I'm able to do that in seconds with the system. That's not just because it costs a ton of money, but I'm actually very satisfied with the purchase. No regrets, right? So all in all, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you that made it to the end of this video. If there's anything I missed, if there's anything you guys know of about the system that I currently, missed or seem like I'm not familiar with, please leave comments in the comment section. I'd be very grateful for any information you guys that's probably been using the system longer than me have that you can pass on to me. I would be very grateful. Now, until then, I'd appreciate you guys leaving thumbs up if you found any information here useful. While you're at it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate that also. Between now and the next video, I wish you guys well and take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.